Hi, my name is Kilgar and I'm a third year art student. Every year, at the end of the year, we have to go through what's called PFA, Projet de la fin d'année. So, project of the end of the year. Basically, it's 1 month, one theme, a metric ton of work, and one jury. As the time I'm recording this, I already know what the theme is, but let's discover it together with past me anyways. To kick off the PFA, our teacher took us on a field trip to La Halle de la Machine. A bit of context for non-French folk. François de la Rosière is one of the most famous living French artists. He's the art director of La Compagnie de la Machine, so to put it simply, he is the idea guy behind all the creations I'm about to show you. As soon as I approached the rendezvous point, I was blocked by one of them, Astarion. Fun fact about me, I faint when I get surprised by loud noises, which those machines definitely make. So here's the aesthetic shot I took of the visit.
Nice.
Anyways, we also got to see Lilith right before she got sent to Hellfest. At some point in the visit, one of my classmates got kidnapped and sent to orbit with a magical poof of smoke. After that, the visit focused more on the musical instruments they created by recycling old machineries, which I'm not going to spoil too much, you should just go there and see them for yourself. Overall, going to see those huge machines gave us a little bit of a hint as to what the theme would be. We thought machines maybe, steampunk, animals, chimeras. Nope. The theme is the Titans of the forgotten myth of Ethera. What is Ethera, I hear you ask in the back? I have no idea. Let's scratch that. Let's just understand what the teachers want and just completely not take into account the actual theme. What they want is that we design or create a universe, a pantheon, a myth, and design a creature, so a god or a divinity, a titan or something, a big creature basically, and that we create the creature and its props. Actually, let's go through the list of things they ask of us. So, the list goes, we have to do one double page of character design with different angles, so 3/4, front, back, some dynamic poses, some heads, so expressions, and some text explaining stuff. And for everything, we have to do 2 iterations, so that, but twice. Well, not as rendered, like, the one you don't render is the one you put to the side. We have to do the same thing for alternative appearances, so costumes, clothes, jewelry and stuff, so slight differences. We have to do one props page, so one object, I'd assume, it's not very clear, one object with different views, so I guess 3/4, top and bottom, I don't know, it depends on the object really. Then we have to do a detailed environment, so many thumbnails and a rendered version. Same with a keyframe, so the difference between those is the environment is just a landscape really. You don't have characters in your landscape. The keyframe, however, is like a screenshot of the show. You have the characters inside. You have an interaction, you have dynamism, stuff like that. We have to think about the layout of the pages, so a total of 14 pages minimum, with 50% of the work done traditionally, which really annoys me, because how am I supposed to be consistent and have one single art style if you obligate me to have 2 different mediums that are widely different, and my style is widely different in those 2. Then we have to bind the thing, we have to do a PowerPoint presentation for the jury, and we have to do a portfolio compiling of best works of the year. I think the minimum is 15, but we can do more. We just do a portfolio. So that's all we have to do in the span of 35 days. That's gonna be a lot. To gain a bit of time, I decided to create my deity as part of the universe I'm developing. So before we jump into the art, a bit of lore. I created my first OCs when I was 15 years old, and over the years they have evolved, thankfully, to be part of a story I call Aria. That universe has deities, but not like the sea, the sky, the sun, but more like deity of concepts that hold reality in place. Each one of them has free will, they are born and they can die, even though they don't age past adult. Each pillar has an opposite and they complement each other. The reason I call them pillars is because every one of them has free will, and if one grows stronger than their counterpart, they put the whole of reality out of balance. As an example of a previous design, I did Raya, the Pillar of Peace, last year. Immediately for this project I wanted to design Hope. I started doing some silhouette designs. I imagined the Pillar of Hope as either this kind of old lady or a small bird, and I'm going to finalize this design, but for the Forgotten Titans of Ethera it wasn't Titanesque enough, so I went to the other side of the wheel and started sketching Despair. I went a little bit in every direction with the silhouettes, and in a way it's what I was supposed to do, but also it's a reflection of how lost I was with the design. I had no image in mind, no theme outside of the vague concept of despair, and it shows. It really shows. So none of these are gonna be the final design, but they're a good first step to jump into the creative mindset that I'm gonna need for the rest of the project. By the way, I did a mix of jump cuts and sped up footage. I don't know which one is the best to show how I work, so tell me in the comments which one do you prefer. At that point I was in a creative workflow. I was speeding through and started doing some environment thumbnails. I saw one of my two teachers we had and they said this thumbnail was the best, so I started rendering it, very excited, with oil paint. I wanted to do an honest scriptless update on my progress. So the thing is, there's 21 days left now, and I feel a bit stuck on the design. It's so frustrating. I keep drawing new heads, new bodies for that creature, and nothing hits. And I think it's because I gave myself too much liberty, too much freedom with the design. I think I should have put myself kind of a theme. I know I have the theme of the dessert? That sounds tasty. No, dessert? That's how you pronounce it, right?
Desert.
Dessert? Theme of the sand. And, you know, that's all good and well, but I was in between African culture and Arabic culture, a little bit inspired by Iranian jewelry, but at the same time sub-Saharan culture. It's messy, it's everywhere at the same time. It doesn't have a clear direction, and I think that was my problem. So I've decided that my main inspiration was gonna be the twigs. So that's where the blue color came from, and I've started making colors. I have my computer right here, and that has freed me and given me ideas. But at the same time, I'm questioning the blue, right? Because it's the pillar of despair. Blue is the color of the sky. It's, at the same time, it blends in with the composition because you have the very sandy color of the body and then the blue of the drapes. So the sandy color of the sand and the blue of the sky. it blends in with the scenery perfectly, but is that what I want? Don't I want it to stand out? Don't I want it like red or orange or bright green? That's a color you don't see in the desert, but at the same time, green is plants, and it's so complicated. And I also have a head color that I'm gonna put here that's more dark, but it's a bit cliche, right? You have despair, it's black, it's beige, but it works. It's cliche for a reason. Should I go with the black? It's so hard. And I'm also a bit down in terms of morale because of one thing. I'm gonna put a better quality picture, obviously, but yeah, it's an oil painting. I haven't finished it yet, but there's so many mistakes. Like, I don't know if I messed up the rendering or if my composition was just plain bad at the start and I shouldn't have trusted my teachers. But my third teacher, which I showed this to, and my thumbnails, gave me a critique that I agree with, and at the same time I don't want to, because I'm really proud of this and this is destroying my hopes and dreams. He said, the perspective is wrong, which is true. The perspective is wrong. And what is important in your composition? Is it the village or is it the door to the desert? It's the door. The door is the most important, and the village is kind of supposed to be noise and indicative of there is human presence here. Yeah, I messed up because sure, the spikes are leading to the door and leading the eye of the spectator to the door if you look at them in one way. If you look at them the other way, which is the way we read, left to right, they lead to the village. It's not bad, like, I can say the main subject is the village, but I'm pointing to something that is academically wrong. The perspective is wrong. And then there's the bridge in the very, very foreground that has a scale that is stupid. Let's just say it. It's a bridge for giants. Like, the door is much smaller than the bridge, and the door is supposed to be like 3 humans tall. It's a city. It's the gate of the city. I've lost hope with this one. So what I'm gonna do is focus more on the character first, and I'm gonna buy bigger. I'm gonna make clearer sketches because my teachers have told me your thumbnails are good in terms of value. We don't really understand what's going on. So I'm gonna make them bigger and with lines, probably sketches, so that we understand what's going on. Not just for me, but for critique also. And I'm gonna buy bigger canvases to make bigger paints. Yeah, despair is sitting in, but I also have the critiques of my friends every time we go to school together, and they've given me really great ideas. One thing that really helped me get unstuck was going for a walk, which you have seen footage of in this video already. But you know, go outside, see some friends, which, lucky for me, I kept bumping into on the way, or more like my friends were bumping into me, and it's always a good time. That friend is Manon. Let's see what she's been doing for this project. Little PSA. We're French, so we talk in French with each other. But I did put subtitles for you guys. Don't worry.
Écoute, moi je suis partie sur mon design principal, ça va être un crapaud, donc ça va pas vraiment être une créature humanoïde, et on va plus partir sur quelque chose une créature vraiment méchante, un peu dégueu. Donc un crapaud soit avec des tentacules, soit avec des mains, je sais pas trop encore ce que je vais sélectionner. Alors en fait ce qui se passe c'est qu'en Occident, en Europe, dans les contes, les légendes, tout ça, en fait les crapauds, ils avaient en fait en eux une crapaudine, ça s'appelait, ou une buffonite en fonction du nom et de la région. Et en fait c'était une pierre qui était fossilisée en fait par les dents de poisson. et en fait qui était un remède contre les maladies, les prédateurs qui mordaient et qui voilà. Et du coup j'aimerais bien faire une pierre en lien avec ça, donc je sais pas trop encore si je garde la dent de poisson parce que c'est pas un design qui m'intéresse beaucoup, mais je pense que je vais garder cette idée là parce que j'aimerais avoir cette idée du prince charmant, tu sais, qui a été frustré, qui a été délaissé à cause de sa laideur, et tu vois qui du coup s'est transformé en créature dégueu et horrible quoi. Donc j'aimerais bien partir là-dessus quoi.
J'adore en plus que son environnement il reflète énormément.
Ouais, c'est ça.
Sa personnalité, vu qu'il est dégueu, l'environnement c'est marécageux, c'est caca.
Ça, finalement, tout compris. C'est exactement ça.
It goes without saying, if you like your art, go give her a follow. I'll put the link in the description. At that point, the stress started to grow, but I kept on moving. I started rendering things at school. Sadly, they only allow the use of Photoshop on campus, so no speed paint, no recording or any of that jazz. We're gonna skip a lot of days there. That week, I worked on the prop, which is a key. The story goes that if the Pillar of Despair gets a hold of it, they can escape the desert and make despair rain on the whole world. A bit basic, I know, but it works in the time I had, okay? I took the time to 3D model the key so that way my process painting it afterwards would be smoother and faster. Big update, I guess. So, there's 7 days left. Yeah, only a week, and a lot has changed. When I started this project, I did not expect it to take that turn, to be honest, but you know what? I'm not mad. I'm confused. Let me explain. I've been thinking of stopping studying arts for a while. My degree is obtainable in 4 years, and I'm currently on my third. I'm finishing my third, actually. And I don't think I'm gonna be back next year. It's not the art school in itself, and honestly, it will be the topic of another video, because there's so much to say and so much to explain. And I know a lot of people want that explanation, so... But let's not talk about it now. Let's talk about the project. Me deciding to stop studying art means the death of my motivation for this project. I do not want to finish it. I do not want to work on that anymore. I want to do real projects. I want to send stuff to editing houses. I want to make stickers. I want to make prints. I want to do art fights. I want to do so many stuff. That is not that project, but I still have to push. I'll finish it. I will finish it, because when I start something, I finish it. But I'll just rethink my ambitions. I'm not gonna do the best work of my entire life, and maybe I won't finish everything. But that's okay. I'm just aiming for passing grade to validate my year. So that's my ambition now. Only 1 week remaining and nothing's done, nothing's finished. Only my landscape is finished, and there's still so much to do, and we have to print it and bind it and make a presentation for the jury. I am so not ready. Speaking of environment, at first I wanted to do it completely traditionally, with oil. I quickly realized that it would take me ages, way too long in fact, so I just scanned my little colored thumbnail and painted over it digitally. Also, I decided to go digital because my school decided to ruin the painting when I was halfway done. Here's how I found it. I had left my thing to dry here and they put stuff over it. As usual, it's okay. I wrote down, no, not dry, but expected. Two days left. 2 days and I haven't finished my keyframe. I haven't printed it. I haven't prepared my oral presentation. The room's empty. I got the room for myself, at least in the morning. And this afternoon we have the last class with our teacher. Last class before the jury, and I'm gone. I so want it to be over. As we approach jury day, let me show you the final product and explain the lore I came up with along the way. My final project is gonna be downloadable in the description, but all the text is in French, sorry. So you've seen the environment. I called it Le Désert des Lames, which means the desert of the blades. It sounds better in French because it's a play on words. The locals called it Le Désert des Larmes, which means tears. See, lame, larme, lame, larme. It's kind of the same word, but not. So the story goes, thousands of years ago, the Pillar of Despair, all still flesh and bones, faced the previous Pillar of Hope. The fight shaped the landscape, literally. With earthquakes, a large strip of land was elevated and cut from lakes, rivers, and sea. That's how it became desertic. And the earth on the sides collapsed downwards as well as upwards, forming these huge spikes. Also, as a result of this fight, hope died, but not in vain. Despair is now imprisoned in the desert. The spikes form a sort of force field that can only be broken with the artifact Hope left behind. A key that is so big it needs 6 humans beings to be lifted. At first, the key was left in the desert, in a temple guarded by the best soldiers in the neighboring kingdoms, but as Despair grew more powerful, each year it had to be moved to the caves below the surface. In fact, right after the fight, Despair was so weak it lost its physical form. It was fragmented in thousands of what I call echoes. So echoes are intangible and invisible, but they retain the ability of the pillar to inflict despair, so they make a depressing atmosphere reign everywhere in the desert. And if humans happen to lose hope and give up in the desert, that's when they become food for despair. And that's how it becomes more powerful. In fact, it has been millennia, so now it is powerful enough to form a body by moving inanimate parts, inanimate materials. For example, the arms are leftover pieces of the spikes that, erosion cut off. The chest plate, mind you, this creature is 55 meters tall, so this is not a human chest plate. It's made by humans and it was gifted to Despair in the hopes to gain its favors, which was obviously in vain, but now it has a cool chest plate. And the drapes are the clothes of the many fallen people that tried to cross the desert unprepared. The blue is for the soldiers, and the white is either bleached by the sun and very old, or just, white cloth. It is still possible to cross the desert when Despair is in its echo form, and you have a qualified guide. There are watchtowers all around the belt to know when the crossing becomes dangerous, and every time Despair goes back into its echo form, there are birds that are trained to grab every single piece of its body and scatter them across the desert so that next time it forms, it takes longer. It's a whole system. Obviously, I wanted to draw, for example, the temple or the birds, and I think I'm still gonna do it just later and probably revisit the story in a different video if you're interested in that. But for now, this is all I have, and jury is now upon us. Today's jury day. I am so scared. I'm not ready at all. I wanted to prepare for my oral presentation yesterday afternoon after I binded my book, but my head was hurting so much from not eating enough, not sleeping enough, that I just collapsed and slept for 15 hours straight. I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning. I am not feeling rested, but I'm jittery. I need to do something. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna rehearse my oral there. The second I walked out the door, and I'm not kidding, I stumbled across one of my classmates, and I decided why not interview her on her feelings about the day we're about to have? The footage was mostly unusable because of cars and I do not have a mic, so I got like 2 sentences. Here they are.
Quand je pense à Laura, il n'y a aucun mot qui me vient. J'ai pas de script, je n'ai rien du tout.
Je n'ai rien du tout non plus.
Voilà, pour l'instant je suis très détendue, mais parce que je réalise pas encore.
Moi j'ai le stress quand
Et
même.
ça va me taper, ça va venir d'un coup.
Mais dis-toi que là, cet après-midi, c'est fini. C'est fini.
We're done. I can sleep. I'm so done, actually. I'm dead. Just goodbye, peeps. I've crossed the... Speaking of environment, at first I wanted to do it completely traditional. I can't talk.